Join our Discord community for an immersive audiobook experience. Request your favorite novels and dive into captivating stories. Download audiobooks directly from our Google Drive link and enjoy them while you work, even with your screen off. Don't miss out. Join now. Marvel Self-Evolution into Superman. Chapter 1:001 Countdown to Death. An underground research institute. Inside a narrow employee dormitory, a handsome young man in his 20s is using a computer, quickly searching through various materials. At the same time, his hands are swiftly calculating complex biological formulas on a notebook. On his chest, there is a silver badge. His name is written on it, Adam Jones. And his work unit and position, Super Soldier Serum Team 71, Researcher 71-08. Not bad. Adam specializes in researching the Super Soldier Serum, the kind of powerful serum that transforms ordinary people into Captain America. However, Adam does not work for the military or the government, but for HYDRA, assisting HYDRA in researching the Super Soldier Serum. To be precise, the predecessor of Adam's current body was specialized in researching the Super Soldier Serum. And now, the soul occupying this body is not of this world. He just arrived in this body a few hours ago. When he arrived, the predecessor was already dead. As for why the predecessor died, it's simple. Firstly, the Super Serum Team, the predecessor was in, spent a lot of time and money but failed to successfully develop the Super Soldier Serum. Secondly, the current timeline is shortly after Avengers, Age of Ultron. After HYDRA was exposed in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it suffered heavy losses, both in terms of funding and manpower. So HYDRA decided to cut off some ineffective projects, reclaim all resources and research materials, and kill the researchers to prevent them from leaking the corresponding research results they had obtained. So a few hours ago, the person in charge of this base, along with security personnel, strangled the predecessor to death. And then Adam from Earth took over. Definitely. If HYDRA discovers that Adam has been resurrected, he will soon face a new death. The current Adam is just an ordinary person, without any super abilities. If HYDRA discovers that he is still alive, he will have almost no room for resistance and can only choose death. But there is always a way out. Adam just arrived in this world and received a gift from Mother of the Earth Gaia in his previous life. You have received a gift from Gaia, gaining the ultimate scientific research ability and unlimited evolutionary potential. Ultimate scientific research ability. You possess unparalleled research ability, allowing you to study anything you want. You can understand all knowledge and master them. Unlimited evolutionary potential. Your body has the potential for unlimited evolution, capable of accommodating all evolutionary powers and absorbing them to the maximum extent. However, it is currently a blank slate, and you need to fill it with scientific technology. The scientific research ability allows Adam to analyze all extraordinary powers and strengthen himself. The unlimited evolutionary potential allows Adam to perfectly integrate the powers he analyzes into his own body. The current Adam is no longer the previous Adam. He is now someone with the ultimate scientific research ability. He now possesses super learning, super scientific research, logical thinking, super memory, and a series of other super scientific research abilities. In order to avoid dying at the hands of HYDRA, Adam is currently using this ability, rapidly digesting the research materials on the Super Soldier Serum and the current research results. And he is also rapidly deducing the formula for successfully manufacturing the Super Soldier Serum. Because only by researching and developing the Super Soldier Serum and injecting it, he can have the ability to save himself. At this moment, Adam's brain is like a supercomputer, working frantically and rapidly deducing a large number of complex bioengineering formulas, cellular energy conversion equations, biomutation safety thresholds, coordination and overall control of billions of neurons, and cell collapse, and so on. Countless knowledge is flowing through his brain. During the process of his brain working frantically, the energy in his body is also rapidly depleting. Soon, his stomach growls. He quickly breaks open a few chocolate bars and eats them quickly, then continues to deduce frantically, without daring to stop for a moment. Because Adam understands that he is now racing against time, racing against the death god. Because soon, there will be a specialized team to clean up the bodies, entering all the staff rooms and disposing of all the bodies. If they find out that he is still alive at this time, they will quickly eliminate him. As for escaping, he is just an ordinary person now, and the research institute is heavily guarded, with armed soldiers firmly controlling the exits, making it impossible for him to escape. So, before being discovered, he must research and develop the Super Soldier Serum and inject it. With each piece of paper filled with various equations, Adam is also rapidly breaking through the difficulties of each Super Soldier Serum. In the office of the head of the research institute, the blinds of the window are pulled down, tightly closed. The head is inside, making a phone call. He grovels to the phone. Lord Baron Strucker, all the researchers of the Super Soldier Serum Group 71 have been dealt with. Baron Strucker's voice sounds through the phone. Very well, back up all the data, then erase all the data in the research institute, and finally shut down the institute. All right, Lord Baron Strucker. Baron Strucker continues, don't let anything go wrong with this matter. Your research institute has already failed. If you can't even handle wiping your own ass. The other person's voice suddenly turns cold, then I will have to eliminate you. Sweat beads form on the head's forehead, and he quickly wipes them away. Rest assured, Lord Baron, I will definitely handle this matter properly. There will be no mistakes. Soon, the call is hung up. The head dials a subordinate's phone, changing his demeanor, and says coldly, send the cleanup team to dispose of the researchers' bodies. Also, check if there are any escapees. If there are, eliminate them. Yes. Inside the dormitory. After several hours of intense deduction, Adam's face has turned slightly pale, and he even feels a bit dizzy. This is the result of excessive mental exertion. Finally, just as Adam feels a slight headache, he deduces the final formula of the super soldier serum. He picks up the latest piece of paper, filled with data. Seeing the paper in front of him, Adam reveals a smile. He licks his dry lips. Finally, it's done. Today, the complete formula of the super soldier serum sees the light of day again. Chapter 2002 exposed. The moment of life and death? At this moment, Adam's heart was filled with excitement and a sense of accomplishment. He had actually deduced the super soldier serum. The military, HYDRA, and other organizations had spent decades trying to deduce the super soldier serum, but he had managed to do it in just a few hours. Although it was largely due to him standing on the shoulders of the HYDRA research data, which saved him a lot of time. But taking this crucial step was the most important. After all these years, only he had achieved it. And it was all thanks to the terrifying research ability bestowed upon him by the Earth. With this ability, Adam believed that as long as he didn't die, he would definitely be able to climb to the highest point and take a look. After a brief moment of joy and excitement, Adam's face became slightly serious. He murmured to himself, next, the most important thing is to successfully formulate the serum and inject it into my body. Adam clenched his fist. By taking this step, I will have a future. Having developed the serum, the next crucial step was to put it into action. Only by injecting the serum into his own body could he survive and escape from here. He now needed to stealthily infiltrate the laboratory and secretly prepare the super soldier serum. Fortunately, all the researchers were dead, and there were no people in the laboratory. As long as he entered the laboratory, he would not be easily discovered. But he had to sneak into the laboratory first. Click. A lighter was ignited. A stack of deduction materials in front of him began to burn fiercely and was thrown into an iron bucket beside Adam. All this information was already engraved in his mind, so there was no need to leave it in the world. The blazing orange flames illuminated Adam's slightly pale face and determined eyes. Adam ate another chocolate bar to replenish his energy. Then he quickly tapped on the keyboard, using some computer knowledge from his previous life to hack into the surveillance system of the Research Institute. He tampered with the footage of certain surveillance cameras. As long as the surveillance doesn't see me and I'm a bit careful not to be discovered by security personnel, I can sneak into the laboratory. Next, he had to go to the laboratory. To avoid being detected by the cameras, he needed to disable all the cameras along his route to the laboratory. Click. Adam finished tapping on the last keyboard key, and a gleam of excitement flashed in his eyes. Done. He had successfully dealt with all the cameras. He quickly got up, quietly opened the door, and saw that there was no one outside. He pushed the door open and walked outside. Following the memories in his mind, he quickly walked towards the laboratory. At the same time, on the other side of the laboratory, a group of personnel with handguns were pushing an incinerator towards the dormitory. They first arrived at the dormitory of Researcher 71-01 and checked the bodies inside. After confirming their deaths, they threw them into the incinerator. Boom! The incinerator erupted in flames, quickly turning the bodies into ashes and completely disposing of the researchers. They then moved on to dormitory 71-02, repeating the same actions. Adam encountered no obstacles along the way and everything went smoothly, mainly because the researchers had been eliminated, and the security personnel were preparing to retreat. The laboratory appeared before Adam's eyes. Luck is on my side. I haven't encountered any problems, Adam said, looking at the equipment inside the laboratory, feeling a sense of excitement and anticipation. Next, I will formulate the super soldier serum. As long as I do that, I can escape from this research institute. Adam focused his gaze. This research institute didn't have super soldiers like the Winter Soldier, nor did it have individuals with super abilities. There were only some heavily armed soldiers. Once he possessed the physique of a super soldier, it would be enough for him to break out. He pushed open the door of the laboratory. After entering, he locked the door behind him. Seeing the door locked, Adam breathed a sigh of relief. The entire laboratory is made of reinforced bulletproof glass, and once it's locked from the inside, it can't be opened from the outside. Even if the people from HYDRA want to rush in, it will still take them quite some time. This time should be enough for me to formulate the serum. He quickly left the spot and headed towards the experimental table, his hands moving swiftly, using a large number of instruments. Drop by drop, the biological potion was continuously adjusted, sometimes turning blue, sometimes green, sometimes transparent, like magic. Occasionally, with a bang, a green smoke rose from the test tube. The team responsible for cleaning up the bodies continued to move forward. Soon, they arrived at dormitory 71-05. Click. The door was pushed open. There was no body inside. Damn it, what's going on? Where is Researcher 05? One person touched the bed and tapped the ash-covered iron bucket. The bed is still warm, and the iron bucket is warm too. It seems like someone was just here. Could it be that this researcher didn't die completely? They came back to life. Immediately, One person tapped on the computer keyboard and looked at the browsing history inside. There was a recent login to the account of 05, and records of accessing the super soldier serum data. His expression slightly froze. It seems that there is a high probability that 05 didn't die. He immediately reported this to the person in charge. Upon hearing this report, the person in charge felt a chill down their spine. They didn't expect that there would actually be someone who slipped through the net. They quickly sounded the alarm. Holding a communicator, they shouted to all the security personnel, 71-05 is still alive? All security personnel, aside from the guards, take action. Dig 3 feet deep to find 71-05. Once found, permission to shoot directly. Immediately, the entire research institute lit up with urgent red alarm lights. Teams of people set off, beginning a thorough search of the entire research institute. Inside the office, the person in charge pulled up Adam's reading records. Seeing that the other party was looking up relevant information about the super soldier serum, and had been browsing for several hours, they furrowed their brows slightly. What is this guy doing? Why, in the last few hours, has he been looking up information about the super soldier serum? They pondered. It seems that this guy knows that with his ordinary body, it's impossible for him to escape, so in the end, he wants to gamble on the super soldier serum. Begging for a miracle, trying to create a successful super soldier serum. They sneered, simply a pipe dream. A group of people for over a decade, and there hasn't been much progress. Can he, alone, create a miracle in a few hours? Is that possible? Their gaze turned cold. I must quickly deal with this guy. If Baron finds out that I didn't clean up properly and someone survived, I'm definitely in trouble. Inside the laboratory, Adam was rapidly completing his actions. Suddenly, an urgent red alarm light sounded. It seems they've discovered my disappearance and started looking for me. I must speed up, hurry and formulate the things. Adam felt the pressure increase, and his movements became faster. Soon, a series of hurried footsteps sounded outside. Immediately after, a fully armed security team appeared. They immediately saw the person inside the laboratory. They quickly shouted into their pagers, "We found 71-05. This guy is inside the laboratory? He's working on something inside. The door is locked from the inside, we can't open it from the outside." The cold voice of the person in charge came from the pager, "Shoot the glass with bullets." The group of people quickly picked up their firearms. Bang bang bang! A storm of bullets rained down on the glass. Listening to the gunshots in his ears, Adam's nerves immediately tighten. Add to the extreme, sweat dripping from his forehead. Just a little more time. Chapter 3:003 He must die. He clenched his teeth and almost unleashed all his potential, rapidly concocting something in his hands. The office of the person in charge. Through the security personnel's glasses, he saw Adam's actions inside. The laboratory's cameras had been hacked by Adam, so the surveillance couldn't see what was happening inside. It still appeared empty. The person in charge frowned and said, "What is this guy doing? Is he preparing a serum? If he takes a failed serum, it will be worse than death. Is this guy desperate now?" Their team had prepared many serums, but they all failed. After the experimental subjects took them, they would suffer for a period of time and eventually die. The person in charge sneered, "Such an arrogant guy." Just at that moment, a phone call came in. "I didn't expect there to be a problem over there." Baron Strucker's cold voice sounded. The person in charge was sincerely fearful and quickly said, "Lord Baron, I am already handling it, you can rest assured. We will soon deal with this guy." In a distant location, Baron Strucker looked at the computer screen, which displayed all the surveillance videos from the Super Serum 71 Research Institute, as well as the scenes captured by the security personnel's perspective. He saw that inside the laboratory, the surviving researchers were frantically concocting something. There was no change in his expression, and he coldly said, "Handle it properly." He also saw Adam's reading records, but he didn't pay much attention to them. After all, this team had made no progress for over a decade, and this young researcher's performance was mediocre after joining. He didn't seem like a genius capable of creating a super serum. Immediately after, he turned off the surveillance of the Super Serum 71 Research Institute. Although it had bulletproof glass, if bullets kept shooting at it, it would eventually break. Under the continuous barrage of bullets. Not long after, creak, a tiny crack appeared on the glass. Seeing this, the team members all showed joy on their faces. It finally cracked. "We can soon blast through this disgusting glass wall. Shit, our institute's glass is really damn good in quality." Looking at Adam sweating inside, the security personnel sneered. "This idiot is about to receive a baptism of bullets. I wonder if this guy will die first under our guns or from the poison he concocted himself." Inside, Adam stopped his rapid movements. He took a deep breath and shook the test tube in his hand. The colorless liquid inside the test tube began to change rapidly. Soon, a pure light blue liquid flowed inside, extremely pure and beautiful like the sky. Looking at the blue liquid in front of him, Adam's eyes widened with joy. "It's done? The super soldier serum." He quickly picked up the syringe next to him and poured the super soldier serum into it. Then he inserted the needle into his own vein. He pressed the trigger. Swoosh! The serum was directly injected into Adam's vein. The people outside saw this scene and all grinned. This guy is really asking for death. It would be better for him to die in our hands. The taste of failed serum, the feeling of being better off dead, is much more painful than a bullet. This kid really can't see the bigger picture. Inside the office, the person in charge saw this scene and immediately let out a sigh of relief. For him, whether it was shooting or injecting the failed serum, there was no difference. As long as the person died, it was okay. Now, the other party has injected the failed serum, and there is no hope of rescue. Definitely doomed. The person in charge smirked and started dialing the phone. Thank goodness it's over. At the moment when the super soldier serum was injected into his body, Adam felt an extreme sense of pain, as if countless hammers were pounding his body, almost grinding his bones to dust. With a bang, Adam fell to the ground, emitting waves of screams. He tightly clenched his hands. The intense pain almost made Adam faint. But he understood that he absolutely couldn't faint, he had to persevere. Otherwise, this sleep would be eternal. Without the will to resist and coordinate his muscles, his body would eventually collapse. So, willpower is the last rope holding onto the body. Waves of intense pain surged towards Adam like a tide. Sweat poured out of his whole body, his body trembled incessantly, his eyes filled with bloodshot veins, and the screams were endless. Hold on, he shouted in his heart. Adam didn't want to die here. After all, his future was boundless. His ability destined him to go to the top of the mountain and take a look. He just crossed over and died? And he died from injecting the real super soldier serum, unable to bear the pain. This was too pathetic. He absolutely refused? Since he crossed over, he must live like the protagonist? What is this little pain? Adam tightly clenched his hands, his nails embedded in them, blood seeping out. But he couldn't feel this little pain at all because the intense pain in his body was too strong. I can do it. Adam's eyes were bloodshot, his face twisted. Others were terrified when they saw him. The security personnel outside felt a chill down their spines when they saw this scene. They had seen this scene before. Those who injected the failed serum would endure this kind of pain. I think injecting this thing is seeking death. It would be better to let me shoot him. King stupid. This kid is completely finished now. In the office, the phone connected. The person in charge flattered, Lord Baron, I have already resolved the small oversight on my end. Baron Strucker, is he dead already? The person in charge laughed. He just adjusted the serum himself and injected it. He is now writhing in pain on the ground. As you know, injecting the wrong serum, no one can survive. It simply destroys the cells in the body, ultimately leading to an excruciating death. This guy. Suddenly, the voice of the person in charge stopped abruptly. Immediately, there was a sound of gasping in shock. Baron Strucker asked urgently, what happened? Chapter 4, 004 One-Sided Massacre. Under the bombardment of a large number of bullets, the bulletproof glass, which had been strengthened, was covered with cracks. Finally, even the strengthened bulletproof glass couldn't hold up anymore. With a bang, it instantly shattered. A group of armed personnel saw this and a smile appeared on their faces. Damn it, we finally broke this thing. Charge? Let's give this guy a few shots and let him die a little more comfortably. Hehe, I'll go for a headshot, no one should try to steal it from me. The group quickly rushed in. Meanwhile, inside the laboratory, Adam, after enduring waves of pain, completed his metamorphosis. After the intense pain, a warm current surged through his body. At the same time, bursts of explosive power continued to emerge. Lying on the ground, Adam was panting heavily. He clenched his fist, and an astonishing burst of power kept surging out. He smiled with satisfaction. Finally, it's done. At the same time, as he heard the sound of glass shattering, a cold light flickered in his eyes. Next, it will be my territory. He quickly rolled and rushed into the experimental platform, holding several sharp surgical knives in his hand. These knives were originally used to dissect people who died from taking the wrong serum. Now, they had a better use. To kill living people. Seeing Adam suddenly stop screaming and swiftly roll into the experimental platform, the security personnel widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. AFK? He's not dead. How is that possible? This speed. Did he succeed? A security personnel swallowed his saliva, a hint of fear flashing in his eyes. After injecting the serum, enduring the pain, and not dying, but still being able to move normally, this was a scene they had never seen before. In the office, the person in charge saw this scene and took a sharp breath, his words abruptly stopping. The Baron heard the person's sharp breath and asked what was going on, but the person in charge couldn't listen at all now. His attention was completely focused on that narrow laboratory, on the man hiding inside. He shouted incredulously, How is this possible? He clearly injected the serum? How is it possible that he didn't die and can continue to move normally? Upon hearing the person in charge's words, the Baron's breath hitched. Injected the serum and still not dead, still able to move normally. This, performance. Thinking of the only possible result, the Baron took a cold breath. The Baron quickly asked, Did he succeed? Did he succeed? Did he succeed? Asking 3 times in a row whether he succeeded or not showed the urgency in the Baron's heart. Inside the laboratory, due to their fear, the security personnel quickly started shooting at the front of the experimental platform, but the platform was made of metal and couldn't be penetrated at all. They quickly moved towards the back of the platform, wanting to defeat Adam who was hiding there. Adam listened to the direction of the gunshots. His brain quickly worked. And then he moved, popping his head out from the other side of the platform. Several surgical knives flew out. Pist, pist. One surgical knife directly hit a person's forehead. A surgical knife was directly inserted into someone's chest. A surgical knife grazed past someone, leaving only a small scar. Even with a strong physique, Adam's hit rate could not reach 100%. Even headshots are a matter of luck. There's no way around it. After all, Adam had never fought before. Being able to do this is already very good. Several screams rang out. 2 people fell down. 1 person died, the other groaned in pain. Adam pursued his advantage. He quickly dodged attacks, crossed several experimental tables at once, and rushed into the crowd. He still had 1 surgical knife in his hand, with a cold and sharp blade. During the fight, Adam showed no signs of panic, and was even terrifyingly calm. Even with continuous gunshots and imminent danger, he could still calmly think about how to fight, how to position himself, how to throw the knife, and how to kill. He didn't know if it was the effect of the super serum enhancing his willpower, or the effect of his research abilities. As Adam charged into the crowd, the situation instantly reversed. He was like a ferocious wolf among sheep. The movements of these security personnel seemed slower in his eyes. Before the opponents could aim their guns at him, his surgical knife turned into a cold and bone-chilling arc, slashing across their throats. Fist, fist. Warm and viscous blood splattered onto Adam's stern face. Quickly, Adam dealt with the security personnel in front of him as easily as cutting vegetables. The noisy gunshots disappeared, leaving only silence. Blood gushed out and the bodies on the ground twitched slightly. On the ground, only Adam stood tall. His face and body were splattered with blood. Combined with his stern expression and cold eyes, he looked like a blood-soaked demon. Resolved. Next, I'll go to the control room, get the data I want, and then break out. If possible, Adam wouldn't mind staying and slaughtering everyone in the research institute. Kill all the HYDRA soldiers and leaders. However, he didn't have the time for that. Because HYDRA could send reinforcements at any moment. He was currently just a strengthened super soldier, not the Hulk or Superman. If the enemy sent a large number of fully armed soldiers, or sent more super soldiers, he wouldn't be able to handle it. So, he had to escape from this research institute before HYDRA reinforcements arrived. As for his grudge with HYDRA, he could settle it when he became stronger. But before breaking out, he had to go to the control room. Because there were the data he needed. After all, HYDRA's research institute still had a lot of intelligence and information. He needed some people's information. For Adam, the super soldier serum was far from enough. It was just a temporary solution to his current predicament. He needed even greater power to deal with HYDRA and future potential crises. He picked up a gun, a few magazines, and walked towards the outside. Fortunately, this was America, where almost everyone had experience with guns. His previous self was the same, otherwise he might not even know how to aim or reload. After doing all this, he poured flammable chemicals in the laboratory. After doing all this, he lit a lighter and threw it in. Boom! A raging fire ignited. Heat waves swept through the area, reflecting off Adam's blood-stained cold face. Chapter 5005 Adam Jones who shocked HYDRA. Adam turned around and rushed out with a gun in his hand. The person in charge looked at the scene in front of him, dumbfounded and trembling. He never expected that this researcher, codenamed 05, had actually developed the super soldier serum. This serum had stumped countless scientists from the military, S.H.I.D.L.D, and HYDRA, and even the genius super soldiers. Yet it was broken through by a seemingly ordinary young man in his 20s. His voice trembled. How is this possible? The Baron's chilling voice rang out. What happened? In the distance, as the Baron spoke, he reopened the surveillance of the Super Serum 71 group. However, the surveillance in the laboratory was already broken. But from the hallway camera, they could see the laboratory engulfed in flames. A blood-soaked young man with black hair was sprinting in the corridor, carrying a rifle and a cold surgical knife. His eyes were completely normal, without a trace of madness, filled with reason. Seeing this scene, the Baron's breathing became slightly rapid, and a hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. His voice trembled. Is that black-haired man, the one who just injected the serum? At this moment, the voice of the leader of the 71 group sounded again. Yes, my Lord Baron. Baron Strucker suddenly stood up from his seat and shouted, capture him? Capture this man alive. Do not kill him. He was extremely excited. Capture him, and I will not blame you for your previous mistakes. You will be greatly rewarded. Baron Strucker never expected that the 71 group had actually produced a real super soldier serum. This was truly an unexpected joy. Immediately, he picked up another phone and said, immediately send an elite team to support the Super Serum 71 Group Research Institute. Also, send a team of super soldiers. Capture a man who has just transformed into a super soldier. He is an American man with black hair and black eyes, named Adam Jones. The super soldiers that HYDRA currently possessed were all flawed, prone to losing control. They were usually frozen and required regular testing and brainwashing. And the success rate was extremely low. Mass production was simply impossible. If they could obtain a real super serum, then they could replicate an army of super soldiers, an army composed of Captain America, then HYDRA could rule the world. Thinking of this, Baron Strucker became even more excited. Office of the 71 Group Research Institute. Yes, my Lord Baron. The person in charge heard this and felt a bit excited. He immediately gave orders to his subordinates again. Capture him? Try not to use guns? Capture him alive. He emphasized once again, remember, if anyone kills him, I will personally torture them to death. The security personnel of the research institute rushed towards the direction of the laboratory one after another. Soon, a battle broke out. In the narrow and short corridors, firearms were not effective. Adam dashed into the crowd, immediately entering a frenzy of killing. Using people as shields, the surgical knife swiftly flew through the air. Screams and the sound of blood splattering filled the air as security personnel constantly fell. Behind them, the flames burned fiercely, as if chasing after Adam's footsteps. Soon, Adam arrived at a control room. He rushed in. Kill all the security personnel inside. Then rapidly tap on the keyboard. A large amount of data constantly pops up and is copied into a high-capacity portable hard drive. One of them is called James Logan. He is Wolverine. Wolverine's terrifying self-healing ability is his next target. As long as he doesn't die, anything is possible. Only by not dying can he do more things. So for Adam, he must first obtain means of survival. Since Wolverine's self-healing ability can be given to Deadpool, it can also be given to him. In addition to Wolverine, a lot of information about other super ability individuals has been copied into the hard drive. And these people are all for Adam's greater plan. These few hours have passed. Adam already knows the path he must take. That is to use the abilities of these people to bring the god of mankind, Superman, back to life in the Marvel Universe. He wants to evolve into a normal Superman, evolve into a Silver Super, and ultimately become an all-knowing and all-powerful supreme being. During this time of slaughtering people, a clear path of evolution has already emerged in his mind. For example, how to obtain a biological field, what abilities to replace, how to have flight ability, how to have super strength, heat vision, and become stronger by absorbing sunlight, and so on. He has a rough plan in his mind. Definitely, he also understands that this path is long and arduous, but he has confidence in achieving it. As Adam rapidly taps on the keyboard, soon, a massive amount of data is copied by him. He immediately puts the hard drive into his pocket. I have the stuff, it's time to go. He looks outside, a smile on his face, but under the rendering of blood, it appears somewhat terrifying. Whoosh! Adam bursts out and rushes out of the control room. Facing the terrifying Adam, the security forces of the Research Institute are unable to stop him. He constantly approaches the main gate. In another HYDRA base in Tennessee, military trucks filled with people rush out and head towards Research Group 71. To avoid being too conspicuous and attracting unnecessary attention, they split into more than 10 groups and take different paths towards Research Group 71. Inside these military trucks are fully armed, live ammunition experienced veterans, filled with a sense of killing. In addition, an invisible fighter jet shoots out from the HYDRA base and quickly approaches Research Group 71. Inside this invisible fighter jet, 4 super soldiers sit, their eyes cold and lifeless, like robots. However, they exude a chilling feeling, as if several fierce tigers and lions are sitting there. Research Group 71. The person in charge watches Adam killing everyone in the surveillance footage and clenches his fist. I can't let you escape. You are the key to my promotion and wealth. He immediately turns around, presses a button, and mutters, you don't think that HYDRA's Research Institute only has ordinary soldiers, do you? Chapter 6006 EMP. Immediately after, several sets of exoskeleton battle armor with a cold metallic color appeared. This is the exoskeleton armor developed by HYDRA using HYDRA technology. We thought we wouldn't need it anymore and it would be taken back by higher UPS, but unexpectedly, we still have to use it to make achievements today. After the battle in Avengers Alliance 1, a large number of HYDRA warships crashed in New York. These warships and robots contain HYDRA interstellar technology, far surpassing Earth's. So they were collected by the military and S.H.I.L.D for research. Because S.H.I.L.D was infiltrated by HYDRA, a lot of HYDRA interstellar technology was taken by HYDRA for research. The exoskeleton battle armor in front of them is one of the results. He called in a security team. Soon, 4 people wearing exoskeleton battle armor appeared. The leader spoke, take down Adam Jones for me. Yes. Immediately, the 4 people burst out with super fast speed and rushed out of the office towards where Adam was. In a hall, Adam kept moving between various cover objects and continuously shooting with his gun. In the midst of constant shooting, Adam's shooting skills were also constantly improving. This is thanks to the powerful learning ability given to him by the ultimate scientific research ability. When approaching the enemy, he would switch to surgical knife mode for close combat. His close combat ability is also constantly improving. Definitely, these improvements do not come without a cost. Constantly fighting against fully armed security personnel, even though he has the body of a super soldier, he still gets injured. He has different degrees of wounds on his body. The pain also constantly stimulates Adam. But on the surface, Adam seems to have not changed much, except for gritting his teeth. His combat effectiveness has not weakened at all. It's as if these pains cannot affect Adam. In reality, Adam can also feel the pain. It's just that compared to the excruciating pain he felt when injecting the serum, these wounds on his body are nothing. In addition, in a life and death battle, the surge of adrenaline also weakens some of the pain. Psst! Adam's surgical knife mercilessly slashed open someone's throat. We're about to go out. Looking at the hall through the external door, Adam muttered. Just at this moment, whoosh! Several figures shot out at high speed and rushed towards Adam. A sense of crisis rose in Adam's heart. He quickly raised his gun and started shooting. Clang clang clang, the opponents moved quickly. They used their steel arms to block the bullets. Then they swooped down and attacked Adam. Adam quickly used his gun as a shield to defend himself. Bang bang bang, a surge of tremendous force. The steel rifle was quickly hammered into scrap. Attacked from all directions by several enemies, Adam struggled to cope and could only passively fight back. Under the opponent's offensive, he kept retreating. Adam frowned as he looked at the soldier in exoskeleton armor in front of him. If he were to fight them one-on-one, he would easily surpass them and be able to deal with them completely. But when several people were together, especially experienced soldiers with high coordination, he couldn't handle them at all. If it continued like this, he would lose. Several exoskeleton soldiers looked at Adam retreating and smiled. Surrender, and you'll get hit a little less. Don't worry, we won't kill you. We just want your freedom and your mind. We won't take your life. Don't resist stubbornly. Although we won't kill you, we can still beat you up. If you want to suffer less, surrender quickly. Inside the office, the person in charge saw this scene and clenched their fist excitedly. This is it. I didn't expect to have a pleasant surprise right before the work here is finished. The person in charge laughed heartily. In the hall, Adam looked at the opponent's exoskeleton battlesuit, his mind spinning rapidly, recalling the knowledge he already had. He was thinking about how to crack the opponent's exoskeleton battlesuit. As long as the opponent didn't have the exoskeleton armor, he wouldn't have to exert much effort to fight. Soon, a gleam flashed in his eyes. The exoskeleton battlesuit is a mechanical item. Mechanical items all have a flaw, which is their fear of electromagnetic pulses. His gaze fell on a small laboratory nearby. Due to limited conditions and time, he couldn't make a large-scale electromagnetic pulse weapon to disable these mechanical exoskeletons with a single shot. But making a small, handicapped-level, disruptive electromagnetic pulse device was still possible. The opponent's exoskeleton had no protective measures, and he could even see the circuits and power pistons inside clearly. There were no copper plates or steel plates as shielding covers, so there was no protection against electromagnetic pulses. Therefore, a small electromagnetic pulse device could still have an impact and temporarily immobilize it. When experts clash, life and death can be decided in a second. There weren't many things in the small laboratory, but making a small electromagnetic pulse disruptor was enough. He could even use a mosquito swatter to make a small electromagnetic pulse device, although the effect would be poor, at most shielding MP3 players and cell phones. Fortunately, the opponents were not a few super soldiers, otherwise, he would truly be kneeling here. Having made up his mind, he lifted the long steel table next to him and swung it at the enemy, then smashed it out. The enemies quickly crossed their arms to defend. Bang! They all took a step or two back. Taking advantage of this opening, Adam ran towards the small laboratory. Seeing Adam not running towards the exit but towards the inside, the enemies sneered. He had no way out. They quickly caught up, ready to take down Adam in one fell swoop. Whoosh! A fighter jet streaked across the sky, tearing through the clouds at high speed, heading towards Research Institute 71. Baron Strucker's voice sounded in the earpieces of each super soldier. After you arrive at Research Institute 71, kill everyone except Adam Jones. Leave no survivors. Yes. The voices of the super soldiers were uniform. Chapter 7, 007 E-Waste. Killing weapon? Regarding the secret of the birth of the super soldier serum, Baron Strucker does not intend to let more people know. Currently, only he needs to know this secret. Because he doesn't trust anyone else, in his view, once a second person knows, it means the whole world knows. The small laboratory is not far away. Adam sprinted and rushed into the small laboratory. After entering, he immediately locked the door. The exoskeleton team outside also arrived. Boom, boom, powerful iron fists struck the protective glass. The glass walls trembled slightly. The veins on the foreheads of the exoskeleton team members bulged slightly. Don't waste your effort. This glass wall can't stop us at all. We only need a dozen seconds to break this wall and take you down. You better come out quickly, otherwise, if we get in, you'll suffer. Adam rushed into the laboratory, searching for materials, hiding in blind spots of the surveillance cameras, and assembling. He whispered calmly, a dozen seconds is enough. An electromagnetic pulse is a sudden, high-intensity pulse of broadband electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic forming technology is a high-speed forming technology that uses magnetic field forces to shape metal workpieces. Because the load acts on the workpiece in the form of pulses during the forming process, it is also called magnetic pulse forming technology. The power supply charges the high-voltage capacitor and stores electrical energy in it. Then the switch is closed, and a short pulse of high-amplitude electric current is formed in the coil, creating a rapidly changing pulse magnetic field around the coil. This pulse magnetic field induces an electric current in the metal workpiece, and the direction of the induced electric current is opposite to the direction of the electric current in the coil. Under the interaction of these two opposing magnetic fields, a strong magnetic field force is generated between the coil and the workpiece. Generally, the coil is fixed, and the workpiece undergoes shapeshifting under the action of this magnetic field force. In short, it creates a powerful magnetic field force that causes mechanical components to shapeshift, thereby interfering with and even destroying enemy electronic devices. Adam quickly disassembled things, took out circuit boards, and then took out copper wires. His hands moved rapidly, welding the circuit boards, binding layers of steel wire, with an incredibly focused expression, completely oblivious to the booming sounds outside. The exoskeleton team outside saw Adam's actions. They furrowed their brows. What is this guy doing? I don't know, is he making an electric shock device? Does he want to shock us? It's fine, as long as we don't touch this guy's weapon. Besides, the 4 of us against him, can he shock all 4 of us at the same time? He shocks one, and the other 3 of us will immediately take him down? No problem. They were just simple soldiers who couldn't understand Adam's actions at all. Soon, Adam had a high-voltage capacitor in his hand, charged it, and stored a large amount of electrical energy in it. Next, all he needed was the switch. In this way, a small electromagnetic pulse generator took shape. Done. Boom! The glass wall shattered, and several sneers sounded. You're finished, kid. You've delayed us for so long. Get ready to suffer. Whoosh! Flashes of lightning-like figures rushed towards Adam, almost instantly appearing in front of him, raising their fists and striking down. Adam's eyes turned cold, and he raised the electromagnetic pulse generator in his hand, a very crude electronic device that looked like a pile of electronic junk. The enemies saw it and sneered. Do you think you can touch us? Do you think you can take down all 4 of us at the same time? Prepare to get beaten, fool. Adam pressed the switch. Buzz! An invisible electromagnetic pulse burst out. The 4 mechanical exoskeletons creaked, losing power and pausing for a moment. What's going on? What happened? Several members of the team widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Adam waved the surgical knife in his hand, the metallic arc cold and sharp. Seeing this scene, several people exclaimed in shock. Psst! Psst! Their throats were all cut. Because their bodies were fixed by heavy exoskeletons, they didn't fall down. It was as if Jesus was hanging on the cross, suspended in the exoskeleton. His body twitched for a moment, and then his eyes lost their light, dead. Adam breathed lightly, sweat mixed with blood dripping continuously. The surgical knife in his hand fluttered like a butterfly in the air, agile and swift, directly destroying the circuitry of the exoskeleton. After completing these actions, he didn't stop. He dropped the unfinished electromagnetic pulse generator in his hand, picked up the surgical knife, and ran towards the door. Because he knew, HYDRA's reinforcements must be on their way, ready to arrive at any moment. He had to leave quickly. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to leave. He picked up a gun and fired at the attackers. Without the resistance of the exoskeleton, the others were no match for him. He quickly rushed out of the hall's door and arrived outside. The research institute behind him was located in the belly of a small mountain. After coming out, there were mountains all around. His gaze fell on a car next to him. He hurriedly ran towards it. No keys. But he pulled out 2 ignition wires and tied them together. Boom! The engine roared to life. The whole car started. After completing these actions, he fired at the tires of the nearby cars, bursting them. After completing these actions, he stepped on the gas pedal, and the car shot out, rushing into the narrow path among the mountains. The wind howled outside the window, and the fresh, slightly cold air rushed into his lungs, washing away the strong smell of blood in his nostrils. At this moment, Adam felt like he was truly reborn. He looked ahead, his eyes seemingly shining. Definitely. He understood that things were far from over. HYDRA would definitely stick to him like an annoying band-aid, tracking him. So he couldn't be careless now. Next, he needed to find Wolverine and study Wolverine's self-healing factor by replicating it. But before finding Wolverine, he still needed to purchase some things to reduce the risk from Wolverine. After all, Wolverine's claws were not to be trifled with. Chapter 8:008 Ulysses Claw. Catch up with the car. On the way to Wolverine, there happened to be a vibranium dealer named Claw. This guy recently sold vibranium to Ultron in Avengers, Age of Ultron, allowing him to create a vibranium body, which later became Vision. At the same time, because he said the wrong thing, Ultron directly cut off one of his arms. He happened to be able to take some vibranium from this guy to defend himself and fight. He stepped on the accelerator, and with a loud roar, the car sped up, leaving everyone's sight in a cloud of dust. The person in charge ran out. Looking at the disappearing car, he went crazy. No, my accomplishment. He wanted to send someone to chase after the car, but all the cars had been tampered with. He kicked the car door in anger. Damn it, damn it. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed. This guy is driving our HYDRA car? It's connected to our system. Track his route for me. The person next to him quickly said, okay. The person next to him took out a notebook and quickly typed away. Soon, a route appeared. A red dot was speeding down the road. Seeing this, the person in charge smiled. Very good, very good. At this moment, a fighter jet broke through the clouds, diving down and finally landing at the entrance of the research institute. The person in charge saw this and his eyes lit up. Help has arrived. Several fully armed super soldiers came down from the plane. Seeing these super soldiers, everyone in the research institute felt a chill down their spines. After all, they knew a thing or two about the ferocity of these super soldiers. The person in charge quickly walked up and handed over the notebook. Everyone, this guy is running on the road, and we have been tracking his car. You can catch up to him now, he can't escape. After all, how can a car outrun a fighter jet? The other party expressionlessly took the notebook, looked at it, and nodded. Then, they raised their guns and aimed at the person in charge and the security personnel behind him. Seeing this scene, the person in charge and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. Before they could react, bang bang bang, a single atom inflicted heavy damage on the security personnel of the research institute. 4 individuals of the same level, facing these security personnel, it was a one-sided massacre. The continuous screams rang out again. The research institute once again turned into a slaughterhouse, blood flowing like a river. While slaughtering, they reported the situation to the Baron. The voice of the Baron sounded in the earpiece of the super soldiers. Completely eliminate the personnel of Research Group 71, then intercept Adam and bring him back. Yes. In the distance, the Baron was reviewing the system information of Research Group 71, reviewing the things Adam copied from the Research Institute not long ago, looking at the information of each super ability user. The Baron frowned slightly and murmured, "What is this guy planning? Why does he need so much information on super ability users?" In addition, there was also some information on non-super ability users. There were quite a few familiar faces among them. For example, the vibranium dealer Chloe. After all, Ultron was able to find Chloe based on the information obtained from him. To be precise, it was from the file office of the base where he was researching Wanda and her brother. He looked at Adam's direction of travel, and then looked at Chloe's location. The person closest to Adam's current route was Chloe. He pondered, is this guy trying to find Chloe and get some vibranium? He immediately picked up the pager and called a truck team. "Baron, what are your orders?" The Baron said, "Change your route, go to Chloe's location." Yes. 4 super soldiers quickly bloodied the entire Research Group 71. From this moment on, the only people who know that Adam has developed the serum for super soldiers are Baron Strucker and Adam himself. The raging flames ignited by Adam engulfed the entire Research Institute. Reflecting on the cold faces of the 4 HYDRA soldiers in front of him, they turned around and boarded the fighter jet. Whoosh! They shot out, heading towards the red dot on the map that was running next to a motel. Adam stopped and pulled apart the 2 ignition wires, causing the car to immediately stall. The reason he stopped was because he needed to tend to his own wounds. Even though he had a physique beyond that of an ordinary person, if the wounds were not treated, they would still worsen and lead to serious consequences. He opened the nearby medical kit, which he had just bought on the road. He tore open his shirt, revealing his streamlined and explosive muscles. With a dose of the super soldier serum, his physical form was already extremely perfect. However, this powerful body was covered in scars, bloody and destroying its aesthetic appeal. There were even bullet wounds. Bullets embedded in his flesh, the pain stimulating Adam's nerves, causing his eye to twitch involuntarily. He took out a pair of tweezers from the side and inserted them deep into the wound to extract the bullets. The intense pain made Adam take a sharp breath. Hiss. Pissed. With a clank, he threw a bullet head onto the iron shell. He constantly extracted the bullets from his body. A series of crisp sounds rang out. In the end, on the iron shell, there were 5 bloody bullet heads. Adam's forehead was covered in small beads of sweat. He immediately cleaned his wounds, pouring alcohol onto those wounds. Hiss. The intense pain made Adam furrow his brow. After disinfecting, he wrapped layer after layer of white bandages around his body. Finally, he bandaged up the larger wounds. Finally done. Adam let out a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat off his face. Immediately, he looked in a certain direction, a glint of determination in his eyes. Baron looked at his computer screen. The fighter jet was rapidly approaching the red dot, and the distance between the 2 sides was already very close. There was no way. The speed of the car compared to the fighter jet was like a snail compared to a rabbit. Baron smiled and said, "Soon, the fighter jet will catch up to Adam's car. The serum for super soldiers will be in my hands." 4 super soldiers, 1 against 4, and still carrying injuries. How can you win this round? Suddenly, he raised an eyebrow. Why did the car stop? Could it be that this guy fainted due to his injuries? Or is he planning to abandon the car? He quickly communicated with the HYDRA soldiers. Catch up quickly. Yes. Chapter 9:009 Boy, your face is quite tender. Above the sky. Whoosh. The fighter jet burst out. In just a few breaths, the people on the fighter jet saw the car parked on the road in the distance. A HYDRA soldier spoke into his pager. "Baron, we have spotted the car. No sign of anyone around. It seems the target is still inside." An excited voice came from the pager. "Go up quickly." Somewhere in the HYDRA base, the Baron also saw the car in the distance through the camera on the fighter jet, and his heart surged with excitement. He clenched his fist and exclaimed, "The super soldier serum is within reach. Now, my ambition can finally be realized." The fighter jet swiftly flew through the sky and arrived in the air in front of the car. Several figures leaped down from the fighter jet and quickly rushed towards the car. A HYDRA soldier reached the front of the car and looked at the person inside, furrowing his brow. "Who are you?" Inside the car, a white man was inside, counting the money in his hands. Upon hearing the sound outside the window, he looked up and was startled by the fully armed soldiers. Bang! The HYDRA soldier smashed the car window and pulled the man out, his voice cold. "Who are you?" The black-haired young man inside the car. The man stammered, "This car is stolen by me. I stole it from that black-haired young man. I saw him go into the pharmacy to buy something, and the car was unlocked, and there was some money inside. So I drove the car away. Damn it." The HYDRA soldier gritted his teeth. Bang! He directly smashed the man's head onto the steering wheel, breaking his nose, blood gushing out, a gruesome sight. The man screamed in pain. The HYDRA soldier coldly asked, "Which pharmacy did you steal things from?" The man quickly replied, I stole from the West pharmacy behind us." The HYDRA soldier let go of his hand and walked towards the descending fighter jet, while reporting the information to the Baron. Behind him, a companion took out a pistol and pulled the trigger amidst a plea for mercy. Bang! The bullet hit the man's head, and he fell onto the steering wheel. Then a lighter was thrown into the car. A group of HYDRA soldiers boarded the plane. A loud explosion followed. The fire burned fiercely, licking the air with intense heat. "Baron, the driver is not Adam. He is not in this car," came the report from the soldiers, who then briefed Baron Strucker on the situation. The Baron's joy turned into a grim expression. He immediately gave the order, "Hurry to the pharmacy and see." Without the car, he shouldn't have gone far. Yes. On the other side, in front of a bar, an outdated sedan parked at the entrance. Inside the car sat a handsome American man, Adam Jones. Adam murmured, "At the moment, those guys should have caught up with the thief and headed towards the pharmacy. But I left a long time ago. Sorry, you guys will only find an empty space." Adam knew that there must be a tracking system inside HYDRA's car, so after getting on the road, he planned to abandon the car and switch to another one. On the road, he saw a suspicious person standing next to someone else's car. Observing the person's behavior, he guessed that the person was a car thief. So an idea of switching cars came to his mind. Coincidentally, there was a pharmacy nearby, so he left some money in the car and intentionally didn't lock it, attracting the attention of the car thief. Sure enough, the other party stole the car. In this way, the other party would have more time to work for him. As for himself, he bought a worn-out second-hand car. The previous owner didn't leave him anything, but there was still a little money left. However, after such extravagance, there wasn't much money left. Actually, Adam could have just stolen the car, just like stealing HYDRA's car, very easily. But he didn't do that, because he hadn't reached the point where he had to harm others for his own benefit by stealing cars. He was a person with principles, although these principles might be flexible. Taking advantage of HYDRA's mistake in identifying the target, he had already arrived at one of his destinations based on HYDRA's information. Noka Bar. According to HYDRA's information, here, he could find the vibranium dealer, Claw. Thinking of this, he pushed open the car door and walked towards the bar. On the other side, the HYDRA soldier arrived at the pharmacy, but they didn't find anything. They only knew that Adam left after buying a car. As for where he went, HYDRA didn't know either, because Adam had been walking in the blind spots of the surveillance, and this area was not a city, it was a remote wilderness with few surveillance cameras and many roads. As a result, HYDRA lost the lead. Inside the HYDRA base, the Baron heard the report from his subordinates and instantly became furious. "AFK, something that was supposed to be a sure thing ended up like this. My super soldier serum." After a moment of anger, the Baron's face turned cold. Adam definitely calculated the car thief stealing the car, leaving the door unlocked and the money. It was definitely intentional. He clenched his fist. Truly someone who developed the super soldier serum single-handedly. During his escape while injured, he was able to calmly consider the car's safety and even staged a clever escape. This guy indeed has something. He looked at the data on the computer screen and murmured, "So, dear Adam, where will you go?" Noisy and dim, with dazzling lights and a mixture of strong alcohol and body odor in the air. This was Adam's first impression upon entering the bar. The bar wasn't big, but it was almost full of people. And it seemed like everyone didn't look friendly, not like people engaged in legitimate business. Seeing this, Adam understood that this might be a gray area, a place where all sorts of people gathered. As soon as he entered, the gazes of the people around him gathered on his unfamiliar face. Their eyes were all unfriendly, as if they had spotted a fat lamb waiting to be slaughtered. A burly man walked towards him. "Kid, you look pretty unfamiliar, and your face is quite tender." As he spoke, he slapped Adam's face. Chapter 10, 010 Vibranium Dealer Ulysses Clay. Adam grabbed the other person's hand and calmly looked at them, saying, "I really dislike it when people lay hands on me." The burly man tried to pull his hand back, but found that the handsome man in front of him had a grip as strong as an iron clamp. His hand couldn't move at all. "What the hell? Why is it so tight?" Adam twisted his hand, causing the other person's hand to contort slightly. A scream escaped from the other person's mouth. Several men quickly stood up from their seats and walked towards Adam with unfriendly expressions. It seemed that they were the burly man's companions. Adam kneeled down and hit the burly man's abdomen, causing him to immediately fall down, curling up in pain. The others rushed forward, wanting to teach Adam a lesson together. Adam threw a punch, hitting the faces, stomachs, and waists of the people. In the blink of an eye, several people were lying on the ground, groaning in pain. Adam was unscathed, not even a wrinkle on his clothes, except for some bloodstains on his hands. Complete domination. Seeing the powerful strength displayed by Adam, the ill intentions in the eyes of the others dissipated significantly. They also withdrew their gazes, but occasionally glanced at the young man from the corner of their eyes. "Wow, this newcomer is quite fierce. I didn't expect someone who looks like a delicate Hollywood star to have such strong abilities. Well, anyone who dares to come here alone must have some skills. This guy is not to be messed with." Inside the bar, everyone was whispering to each other. Adam walked towards a table. The customers at that table were all nervous, their breathing paused, unconsciously swallowing their saliva. The glasses they were holding were frozen in midair, not daring to move at all. As Adam approached, the pressure in their hearts reached its peak, their hearts pounding. But Adam only took out a piece of paper and calmly wiped the blood off his fist. After finishing these actions, Adam walked towards the bar counter. The customers at the table breathed a sigh of relief, either placing their beer down or taking a big gulp. Adam sat in front of the bar counter and ordered a chilled beer. Soon, the bartender placed a large glass of chilled beer in front of him. Adam looked at the bartender and said, "I want to see Ulysses Crow." According to HYDRA's information, Crow also had a stake in this bar. So the bartender should have some connection with Crow, or at least be able to contact him. The bartender expressionlessly shook his head, "I don't know this person." Saying that, he wiped and tidied the bar with a towel. Adam didn't drink the beer, he just placed his hands on the cold glass, feeling its temperature. He spoke, "I know Crow is involved in this bar and has a stake in it. I just want to find Crow and buy something." The bartender shook his head, "Mr. Crow has retired and no longer sells anything." Adam understood that he had to present something that Crow would truly be interested in, otherwise he wouldn't see him. Unless he could come up with a box of money or something else that Crow would find interesting. He definitely didn't have a box of money. However, he did have something that Crow might be interested in. Adam spoke, "I have a set of steel arms here that can perfectly replace the original hands and are even more powerful and convenient. I think Klaus should be interested. You just need to tell him that this steel arm contains HYDRA technology." Not long ago, while selling vibranium to Ultron, Klaus offended him by saying the wrong thing and had one of his arms cut off by Ultron. So, Klaus at this moment will definitely be interested in a steel arm that can replace his original arm. Especially since this steel arm also contains HYDRA technology that far surpasses Earth's level. The reason why Adam has this technology is naturally obtained from HYDRA. It can be put to good use here. Upon hearing Adam's words, the bartender paused for a moment and said, "I'll go get some drinks from the back." After speaking, he turned and entered the kitchen. Adam understood that the bartender must have contacted Klaus. Adam did not drink the drink in front of him. Instead, he handed it to the person next to him and smiled, "This one's on me." The person happily took the drink and drank it quickly, saying, "Thank you, brother." Soon, the bartender came out. He looked at Adam and said, "Mr. Klaus is willing to see you." Immediately, he wrote down an address and handed it to Adam. "Go to this place to meet him." Adam nodded. It was a house outside a small town near the mining site. With the address in hand, Adam drove to the location. Soon, an abandoned mining site appeared before his eyes. Next to it was a house. Outside the house stood a group of armed people. When they saw Adam's car, everyone's eyes became extremely alert. They aimed their guns at the car. Facing the barrels of the guns, Adam remained calm. Because Klaus needed what he had, and it was difficult for ordinary people to hit him with a gun. He opened the door and got out of the car, saying, "I have what Klaus needs." The other party said, "No weapons allowed inside." Adam nodded. Someone quickly came up and searched him. After confirming that Adam had no weapons on him, they let him in. After entering the room, Adam saw Klaus. Perhaps because of his broken arm, Klaus didn't look too good. Klaus squinted slightly and said, "You said you can make a powerful steel arm for me." Adam nodded, "Yes, I can make a powerful steel arm for you, and its technology comes from the HYDRA." He remained calm, "You know the level of HYDRA technology. After all, that battle in New York a few years ago was broadcasted worldwide." Chloe nodded, "I naturally know, otherwise I wouldn't have let you in. But how can you prove that you can make such an arm? Can't you deceive me?" Adam threw a stack of documents in his hand and raised his chin. These documents were a partial technical description of the steel arm that Adam printed before coming, and the key technologies were hidden. Chloe, also being a technician, picked up what Adam handed over and started to look through it.